Okay, so we are back in the TT, and the TT is back in its natural habitat, back in the garage, with the bonnet up. I don't know what is going wrong with this car. So in the previous video you saw that I replaced the downpipe. So from the turbo down to the cats, I replaced it with a brand new turbo downpipe. And now the car is running like shit. So we jumped into the car and we drove out the road, and we didn't go too far, maybe only half a kilometre. And the car, drove normally, drove okay. We turned around and we came back. I waited for the traffic to just have a good gap in the traffic, just to really kind of launch the car and see how good was the downpipe. And the car just drove like shit. That's the easiest way to describe it. It just was jerky. It was like, we're doing this, and it just wouldn't drive. I was like, what is wrong with the car? Is there like, I don't know how to describe it, whether like, it was like someone was grabbing the back of the car and just pulling us back every so often. Like, it was jerky, if that makes sense. So I said, right, it's either going to be a lambda sensor. Well, there's two different lambda sensors, so either one or both of them I forgot to plug in. They're damaged, which could actually happen. Or there's a boost pipe and I forgot to put a boost pipe back on or something like that. It kind of half felt like there's a boost pipe blowing off or something odd happening. Like as if I didn't plug something back in. So we're back in the garage and we're going to check everything now. Foot is on the floor. It's holding at 3000. Take it off a little bit. It's kind of revving up and not revving up, and then sometimes it'll go down here at like 9000 and it'll doesn't just drop all the way down and go dunk, 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 and then just die. Okay, here we are with the engine. The noise you're hearing is just the auxiliary water pump just pumping away. You can ignore that. So, boost pipe back on. Other boost pipe, it's on just there. I already checked it, but it is on tight, so it can't be that. I didn't disconnect these two pipes, I just bent them over. Wasn't that. Now, these two pipes were jammed down here, so just after lifting them up and putting them back in the right place, there they are now. So, I honestly don't think it was that. Like, I don't think I squeezed the pipe, broke the pipe, so wasn't that. The lambda sensor, it sits just it's behind all of this, so I'm going to take that off camera and just check that I actually plugged it in, and we'll check the bottom lambda sensor as well. But I don't understand what I would have done to the car to cause this jerking sensation. Like, the pipes are on right and there's no crack in them, so I'm going to go underneath and check that I put in the bottom lambda sensor. So I do have a coolant leak, right? That's something to address. Like, it is a little bit oily, but I don't think like anything has actually affected the running of the engine. I can't see. Yeah, it's very difficult to see anything. Okay, so there's the exhaust pipe. Like, everything is in. There's no noticeable place where it's like blowing out or anything. I don't think that would even affect it. There's a little bit there, but I think that's actually just from the previous time. That's the lambda sensor. I did plug it in. I remember plugging it in. So it is actually in. And that goes all the way back to, where's it gone? Here we go. So that's that one there. A little bit oily, but I don't know. I think it's actually just dirt that's stuck to it. Maybe. But anyway, I don't know, like, it's working. There's no check error lights or no error codes on the car. Go back down. Check everything else. Like I know my car leaks a little bit of oil, but like, don't all Volkswagens and Audis leak oil? I don't see anything outstanding that's wrong. So let's go back on top. Okay, so you can't really see it from up here. Well, I did. The lambda sensor's in it and it is plugged in. I have guaranteed that it is plugged in. So I don't know what else to do. If you have an idea, please write it down in the comment section down below what you think the problem is or what the solution is. I wonder, is it just really low on fuel? Okay, I have 20 litres of fresh fuel, so let's put 20 litres of fresh fuel straight into TT At least then it can't be low on fuel or bad fuel. Nope, that didn't fix it. So I'm kind of skeptical if this will work. What we're going to do is disconnect the negative and the live, touch the two terminals together, which will short out or discharge any saved memory that's in the ECU of any way the car was running, and kind of basically it's a hard reset to see if that fixes it and makes the car run better. No, that didn't fix it either. Okay, it's late, I don't care about this. I'm going to just disconnect the live, leave it hanging there, not let it touch the battery at all. I can touch the live off the chassis or off the engine, that'll also discharge it. And I'll leave it, say, like for 12 hours or something like that. And I'll come back to it tomorrow and see, does that fix it? I don't know. Still not fixed. What is wrong with this car? Like, obviously I've checked all the coils, like that the plugs are actually attached to them. And also it should come up on the dash as a check engine light, and if you scan it, it should say, you know, coil 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever it is, isn't connected or misfire or whatever it's called. So like, there's currently no codes. I have absolutely scanned the cars a few times with different apps. I didn't use VCDS, but I have scanned it with everything else that I have here. Nothing seems to be showing up. So I have 0 fault codes. And even if it was one of the spark plugs, 1, I should get a check engine light, and 2, the engine will actually run on 3 cylinders. It'll run like shit, but it will run. Where the symptoms I'm having is, it literally is just dying down till it just won't run anymore and just completely conks itself out. So just messaged one of my friends that works in the garage, and he said, get some brake cleaner, spray it over the engine, and if there is a vacuum leak, the engine will rev up. And so I'm going to try that. I'm going to do it off camera, but I'm going to try that now and see if that makes any difference. He said probably brake cleaner or a bit of WD-40, something that's a little bit flammable, and it'll get sucked into the engine and it'll rev up the engine. So just spray it, like divide up the engine into quarters or into 6, and spray a bit here and a bit over there. You know, kind of spread it out, that if you hear the engine revving up, that, well, it could be. So if that makes any difference, and see if the engine revs up. Okay, well, that didn't work. Well, it made my engine slightly cleaner, but yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, so it made absolutely no difference. So the other thing, like, I don't know, maybe it is like a vacuum leak that just the brake cleaner isn't finding it. So I saw online you can make a smoke tester. So we're going to try and fill the engine or all the vacuum pipes and the intake pipes with smoke and see if that makes any difference. Okay, and ta-da! So believe it or not, this is my super duper fancy smoke tester machine. So we have baby oil. We have a peanut jar. There's a rag and it's soaked in baby oil. And this is the old soldering iron. So the way this works is you have your jam jar, you put a rag into it and you soak the rag in baby oil. Then you get your soldering iron. You put your soldering iron down into the center so it sits upright like that. One pipe, you have 2 holes in this, there's 2 holes there. One hole goes into the vacuum part of your car, and the other is just compressed air. So this is my very simple and crude smoke machine. What we did is we drilled 2 holes. Now we take our air gun and we pump air into the small hole. Obviously air goes in, air has to come back out. So it comes out with the smoke attached to it. We pump it into the intercooler pipe or into the vacuum pipes, and as the smoke goes around, it'll find somewhere to escape, and hopefully that'll show me where the burst pipe is or the burst vacuum pipe is. So let's give that a go. So how did I get on? Well, it kind of worked and kind of didn't work, to be honest. So I took this pipe off originally, but then I realized there was a one-way check valve. So obviously the smoke can only go that way, but not come back this way. So smoked it, and yeah, it kind of like, obviously the smoke went down this way and went off as far as here into the manifold. So obviously there's vacuum pipes underneath the manifold as well. None of them had problems. So then I took off the pipe over here and pumped in smoke both directions. And smoke, you know, it worked its way around and everything. And I noticed there was smoke coming out of over here. So I was like, where is the smoke coming out of? And where's it gone now? At the corner, you're not going to see it, but down there, so coming out of this, what people call the hockey puck, it's smoking. There you can see it just sort of there. There's a tiny, tiny little rip just in that. But I was like, that can't actually affect it, can it? So checked again, and a little bit more smoke. And at the end of this pipe here, so from the hockey puck, it goes all the way down and comes into this big pipe here, which is your intake pipe, just before the turbo. It was smoking a little bit there, but I knew there was a little bit of a rip in that as well. But still, I'm still not convinced that's what's affecting it. Now, I have seen it before where all the air coming into your airbox is metered and is checked by this little sensor here. So it knows the amount of oxygen going in, so then it can mix the right amount of fuel. Obviously then your two lambda sensors are checking that you're burning the right mixture as well. So I was like, I wonder, is the sensor gone bad, or is there another hole? I've checked it loads and there's no more leaks anywhere. So we're going to try unplug a few things and see if that makes any difference. Okay, so latest update. Had the car running, had the map sensor here, I think it's called. So plugged it in, plugged it out, and you could hear there was an audible difference with the car. So the car is actually reading that the map sensor, I think this is called map sensor anyway, the sensor is being plugged in and out, so the sensor is actually working. So I think we can put that back together again, so it's definitely not that. Okay, it's a few days later and we are back with the TT. So we have a fuel filter and an air filter. I don't know whether these are going to fix it or not, but I've already made a video on it, so I'll probably link the video up here or up here. How to change your fuel filter and your air filter. So I'm going to change them and see if that makes any difference to the car. No, that didn't fix it either. Okay, so the fuel valve pressure regulator is that piece there, and just have a reading online. A lot of the same symptoms that I'm having, this kind of dying down, not running right, are all related to the fuel valve pressure regulator valve, whatever it's called. So have one over here on the VR6 Corrado. That's it there. Now I don't know whether the Corrado is running at a higher or lower pressure. I think it's at 3 bar. I think the TT is running at 4 bar. But if I put this on, even if it's at 3 bar and it's working right, where that one's failed and it's running at 2 bar, 1 bar, whatever it's running at, if this works, well then I can just buy another one of these, the correct one for the TT. Like it might be 3 bar and that one might be 3 bar. I don't know what the pressure actually is of these, but this is what I have. I'm going to put it on and see if that works. We're going to change that. I've checked everything else. I don't know what else it could be, so it seems logical. Let's give that a go. I think I'm actually going grey with the stress of not being able to fix this car. Just fucking work! Nope, that didn't fix it either. Maybe holy water would fix it. So while I'm pulling out the coil, let's check the condition of the spark plugs as well. So I'm going to give the spark plugs a clean to make them nice and shiny again, get rid of all the carbon and make sure that the coil is on nice and tight. Let's try that. Well, you're either at the start or the middle of the video, but obviously we're not at the end because that didn't fix it either. I don't know. Okay, I don't know whether this is going to work or not, but this is my theory. That might be. I don't know whether this is even true or not, but because the downpipe had failed, now the lambda sensor are reading too much oxygen or not enough CO2, whatever way they work. They were pumping in more fuel. So the car was over-fueling rather than under-fueling, I think, or maybe it was the other way around, I don't know. But maybe I've after burning a piston. Maybe I've after burning a... The car also has over 200,000 miles on it. So maybe one of the rings is bad. I don't know. At this stage, I don't know. So I have a compression tester here. So what I'm going to do is probably just take out the first two spark plugs, check them. If they're okay, well then I mightn't pull out these two. If they're not bad, or if they are bad, I'll check the other ones as well. But yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm doing anymore. I just want to diagnose it. If I just knew what was wrong with this car, I'd fix it straight away. But I don't know. Let's give this a go. These have to be disconnected, and these two here have to be disconnected to do the compression test. The results of the compression test was I got 160 psi across all 4 cylinders. So I know that they're all within spec. Okay, well, the compression tester obviously didn't find anything, but at least I know that the engine's healthy. So that's good, I think. So I'm not really convinced that it's going to be the fuel pump, because I replaced that 3 years ago. And the car was running absolutely perfect until I went near the downpipe. So I don't think it's the fuel pump, but like, I kind of changed and checked everything else. So we're going to check the fuel pump, and I don't know how to check the fuel pump to find out what the pressure is. Like, is it down on pressure, or is it actually okay? Because I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Okay, I am going to build a Frankenstein type of pump. So this is a 4-bar pump. This is a pump out of a VR6 Corrado, and it runs at 3-bar. What I'm going to do is put the 3-bar pump into the housing and everything of the TT. It won't, because the TT is 4-wheel drive, it needs the auxiliary pump, because the fuel pump is like a saddle over the exhaust pipe and over the rear axle. So it's not going to have that, but I'm just going to make it run. So we're just going to put the 3-bar pump into all of this housing. The reason why I can't just put all of this down is because connections at this side for the power are all different, because this is like, say, a Mark II or Mark III, and the TT is running on Mark IV. So all the plugs are different, and these are slide-on pipes on the Corrado ones, and on the TT they're just push-on clip connections. So even the pipes are different. So I have this pipe here already taken off, and I'm just going to pull out this, put this into this, and make a bit of a Frankenstein machine. But I want to just test it, see, will this actually make the car run? Because like I replaced this pump only 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm still not convinced it's the pump. But let's give this a go. Obviously, I'm making sure every connection is on tight, because I don't want to blow myself up as well, because it is a petrol tank, and I have probably a 1/4 tank of petrol. It means I have 3/4 tank of oxygen in there. So let's give this a go, and hopefully it'll work. Okay, I have my Frankenstein fuel pump assembled. Yeah, you can hear the fuel pump priming. So let's see if we blow ourselves up or this works. It's still kind of ramping, but no, it's actually sounding a lot better. Yeah, it's not dying, look. Yeah, okay, so the problem is maybe the fuel pump. So yeah, okay, great. I think I've solved. So maybe it was just the fuel pump. Great, fantastic. Okay, so I've got my brand new fuel pump ready to install it. If you want to see how I did it, check out this video in the top corner up here. Well, no, that didn't fix it. Okay, well, I'm back in the garage. So I did drive the car. It drove better. It did drive better, to be honest, but still driving less shit now. So went for a spin, and it's now sort of drivable. So I think the fuel pump, I don't know, maybe the pump was dying, maybe I bought bad fuel somewhere. Now when I opened it up, I'll show you in the picture, inside the filter part of the fuel pump, it does look like there's a lot of debris, like very, very fine debris. Now maybe that's normal, or maybe I got bad fuel somewhere, I don't know. So anyway, the fuel pump, it kind of fixed it. Still running bad. So went out the road, came back, drove around the farmyard a few times, and I have a check engine light. So that's you'd think it's a bad thing, but it's actually a really good thing to get check engine light. So finally now the car is going, there's something wrong with me. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? So I got one of these little scanners. You attach it to your phone over Bluetooth, and that's how I scan the car. The app I use is iOBD2 scanner. It says misfire in cylinder 1. Okay, so misfire in cylinder 1 can either be the coil or the spark plug. So if I take the coil off cylinder 1 and the coil off cylinder 2, swap the two of them around. So technically cylinder 2 would have coil 1 and cylinder 1 would have coil 2. If the misfire stays on cylinder 1, well then I know it's the spark plug. If the misfire changes onto cylinder 2, well then I know it's the coil. That doesn't mean that you could end up with another misfire or there's a plug that's not plugged in, but everything I've checked is plugged in. So I'm going to give this a spin and see what's happening. Okay, so just back again, and yeah, great success. So it was misfire in cylinder 1, scanned it. Now it says misfire in cylinder 2. Because I changed only the coil from cylinder 1 to cylinder 2, now it means that it's definitely the coil. So I'm going to change the coil next. So to solve the misfire on the TT, we got a new ignition igniter, or just a coil is what I would call it. But that's what it's called on the website. So 55 euros later, we have a new coil. Right, so let's take out the dead coil and put in the new one. So to swap these coils is quite easy. All you do is undo the plug back here, pull the coil straight up, swap the old one out for the new one, and then reinstall. Okay, now let's see if this solves the problem. Okay, straight away there's no hesitation whatsoever. Yeah, I think we've solved the problem. Okay, so where's the light gone? Here we go. Okay, just back again, and so great success. Turned out, yeah, it was the coil, but I don't think it was just the coil. I think it was actually the downpipe, the fuel pump, and the coil. I just had three things all at the same time, so it was just really bad luck. But if you like this video and you want to support me, give me a thumbs up, subscribe over there. As always guys, thanks for watching. See you later.